have the session How SocialFi is Reshaping Entertainment Landscape. This session features outstanding guests who are at the forefront of the entertainment industry. Without further delay, let me introduce our speakers. Please welcome Karen Chen, Head of Socials at Mimland. And next speaker is Po-chan Woo, President of our song. And the next speaker is Nikki Han, CEO of Titan Content. And the next speaker is Jia Shen, CEO of AKA Virtual. Moderating this session is Joichi Ito, President of Dreamer Institute of Technology. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. We have a somewhat short but intense panel. And the plan today, because SocialFi is kind of hard to understand, and it's not just hard to understand because the topic is new, but it's also quite complicated in structure, and everybody's doing very different things. So I thought today the best way to start would be to get each person to describe themselves, but also explain what problem they're working on, because I have a feeling that the problem they're working on is the most interesting thing that they can talk about. So I want to start first with Po-chan and get you to introduce yourself and talk about what you're working on.
Hi everyone. So my name is Po-chan, and I'm a musician myself, and I'm a lead singer and a songwriter in the rock band. But I'm also a serial entrepreneur in music tech for over 16 years. Right now, we're doing several things. We're the biggest distribution platform, music distribution platform in Taiwan. We represent about over 6,000 labels and artists around the world. And we have a layer 3 protocol called Sound Protocol. It's an infrastructure for IP management and royalty distribution. And also an MT platform called RSOM. And we're also going to issue debit card for the musician to spend their on-chain royalty. So a lot of things. But the problem we're trying to solve is pretty simple, because I think there are a lot of problems in the music industry, but it's all over the place. The one thing is, in the AI era, creating content or music will be so easy, but being an artist will be harder than ever. So the service and the infrastructure we're trying to provide to the music industry and to the artists is to help them to find a new way or a better way to monetize and to grow their fan base. It's that simple.
Thanks, Po-chan. Nikki, want to go next?
Hi, my name is Nikki Han. I'm a founder and CEO of Titan Content. And I used to run a K-pop company called SM Entertainment for 20 years, which is one of the biggest global K-pop company. And I founded this company Titan in America, in Los Angeles last year, as the first US-based K-pop company with two visions. One vision is, create the most global K-pop company, producing the most global K-pop talent and artists and produce content. And also, along with that, we're going to be the most tech-savvy K-pop company adopting Web3 AI technologies and connect the technology with the fandom that we build with the artists. So basically, K-pop business in a word is a global fandom business. So we're trying to create a Web3 based platform that will create an opportunity for the fandom to use the technology and create the product themselves and connect each other and connect with the artists and create a lot of different types of products or even online products on the platform and share with themselves and connect with the artists and etc etc. Thank you.
Nikki, can I just ask you, is that global? Is your target global, or are there regions?
Global.
Yeah.
K-pop is global. K-pop is all over the world. Like not only U.S., Europe, Middle East, Asia, Japan, China, and everywhere.
Thank you. Karen, you want to go next?
Hi, my name is Karen. I'm head of social for Memeland. And Memeland is a Web3 venture created by the team behind 9gag, which is a 16-year company of sharing memes. Before it was just called funny photos on the internet. But basically we created a platform and now we're going into the Web3 space. We have 3 collections, 3 NFT collections, and also we have our own token. So we're building communities for a long time. So hopefully we're continue to build that creator economy and also continue to build content that matters for the global audience. Yeah.
Thank you, Karen. And Gia.
Hi, my name is Ja. I'm from AKA Virtual. We're a company that creates virtual characters. We were born from the Japanese industry of VTubers, and it's kind of like Japanese anime otaku culture. And the big thing that we're trying to do is basically take this type of culture and export it globally, because it's going to help solve a specific problem, which I think a lot of people here are trying to solve, is that how do you do brand building, storytelling, social media connections in a new era where things like Facebook aren't cool anymore, and so we're trying to figure out how to do that storytelling for big games, IPs, music companies, music labels, to create content on things like TikTok, on Instagram Reels, on YouTube Shorts, and then build towards the bigger things like Netflix shows or something that you would subscribe to, and so that's what we do.
All right, I just came up with a question. So first of all, I think for people who haven't been in this field, right, I think one thing that's important is to describe how it's different than how similar businesses were before. So in the past, like when I was a kid, you had creators and studios and distribution, and you had advertising. And then we had the internet, which was still a lot of advertising and a lot of standardized systems, but some regional differences, but it was still kind of one big global market and it wasn't moving very fast. But now with AI, with blockchain, with all of the different bifurcated social networks, it seems like it's impossibly hard now. And one question that I have for kind of all of you is like, is there anything that's gotten easier? And what is it? And why is it a bunch of Asians? And why are there no American entrepreneurs in this space? I don't know. I mean, is it just really hard? Or do you think there's something that gives you excitement? Like, is there a big company can come out of this, or are they going to be all small companies?
Well, I think we're in an inflection time, right? Like, gaming companies, technology, all companies got really good at user acquisition because you could buy users, and then it broke. And that's one of the bigger problems that we've been seeing through game companies and other types of content out there. And then social media is actually super splintered, but everybody is trying to replicate, in our opinion, one company, which is TikTok. Right? Everybody took TikTok and was like, oh, I'm going to shove it in my social thing. And then, so that form of content actually, for some reason, actually started to unify a form of communication, content storytelling in the form of shorts. It's literally in Telegram and it's in Signal for no good reason. And so that's one thing that has gotten easier.
Yeah, and I think like the format of entertainment now, it's more loose. Before it's like, oh, only TV or going to the movies. Now it's like anyone can create, basically. Like we work with a lot of creators around the world, and everyone can basically grab their phones and become a creator and an entertainer. So how do we empower these people? And I feel like it's easier to go into industry right now because it's easy to produce your own content and be able to own your piece of content. So I think like that's going to be revolution for a lot of creators that are trying to go into the space.
So is that the consensus here that it's basically TikTok? Is that the current media format? Does everybody agree with that?
Oh, it's not only TikTok, but also all the social media platform. So K-pop traditionally has been very, very traditional business. So if you have to appear on TV, you have to go to certain countries to do promotion. But K-pop globalization has grown with all the social medias like YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. So, just like Karen said, we K-pop companies now utilize all forms of content to communicate with the fandom, and also create the content and share with the fandom.
Yeah, because we're looking at it actually as different types of social media is part of a blend of how you should be communicating with your audience. So Shorts and TikTok is supposed to be your growth mechanism. It's how people are like, oh, I don't even know what this is, but like it's 5 seconds, whatever, I'll go through that. But then eventually you have to end up on a monetization aspect, right? Like live streaming, a true music video. You end up on some sort of like subscription syndication. And so it's the full package, but TikTok is the first thing that people need to, or TikTok and Shorts are the first thing that people need to understand. And most conventional media companies and game companies do not know what they're doing on that.
Yeah, but I think the problem that we all know that is the big social media that control all the exposure and all the fan data that you have right now. So it's getting harder for the creators to monetize. But back in 2021, in the NFT hype, we really see the chance for the everyday creators to monetize their content through NFTs. It's actually we've seen a rise for leveling the playing field for the first time in maybe 10 years or 20 years, because on the streaming platform we all know that the number one song can get maybe $1 million or $2 million a year, or even more, but that's just 2% of people that get maybe 70 or 80% of the revenue. Yeah, so I think Web3 is a really good chance for the everyday creators to really have a way to monetize their content and own their own fan data.
I also find it very funny how a lot of creators trying to become a meme, and a lot of entertainment business people trying to become a meme now, because like you get the influential part of your piece of content and be able to like let people to create on top of your piece of content. So it's allowing more people to recreate together. So that's very interesting for me.
And just going back to the blockchain piece, because that was one of the big promises of crypto and blockchain, right? And there are I've seen a lot of projects being proposed, but do you think we're almost there where because the platforms control partially through the payment mechanism, right? And do you think that if we can actually get crypto and blockchain, that will change the architecture and the power of the platforms? What's the relationship between the platforms and crypto? I mean, I guess Telegram is doing it inside. I mean, do you think Web3 will be a separate layer, or is it going to be built into the platform?
Well, I mean, I think the current like hamster combat thing on Telegram is super interesting. I mean, we know a lot about it. Like the key still is like, I mean, he brings up a big piece, which is platforms that are centralized still control distribution, right? And so if the platform decides that they want to have an app store or don't have an app store or don't promote or so on and so forth, that is, it's a centralized decision. Telegram, Signal, which I'm a bigger fan of, are very interesting aspects where it's supposed to be more what the internet was founded on, like a global governance structure that's not governed by business, not governed by governments. That's something that's very interesting. So I think that it's not there yet because there isn't a true Web3 messenger.
Well, I mean, so I'm old, so I remember when Wi-Fi came and we thought it was going to be decentralized, but then it became centralized with telephones. And when we started blogging, everybody ran their own server, and we said, finally, we're decentralized, and then social media centralized. And one fear that I have is Web3 starts out decentralized, but all of the platforms that can leverage distribution end up controlling the token, and it might get decentralized again. I mean, do you guys think this is going to be different this time, and we can somehow keep some of the power decentralized, or do you think it's just going to end up in the platform that controls the distribution?
I mean, I think this is a great blend where it's not. There's always going to be centralization. That lends some sort of organization to things, right? Otherwise, people get rugged and they lose their money. But like, there's a huge aspect of it that is now in the hands of the owner, the user, that I think now it's not entirely up to like the centralized thing, right? That's the whole like Steam game thing where like I could buy a game and like tomorrow they'll take it away. That blows my mind, and so that going away from that makes me very very happy.
I mean,
I think I think at least crypto offer an opportunity for people to have free will. They can change platform if they want, but right now if you accumulate like millions of followers on TikTok, and once they just change their algorithm, you're done. Yeah, you can do nothing. I think that's the biggest difference, to do the direct value transferring and also own your own fan base.
Karen, did you have?
Yeah, I agree. Cause like, the most important thing for creators is like, how do they continue to have their ownership on their piece of content? And I think that's very interesting for how this whole SocialFi would go in the future. Is like, it's gonna change how they're gonna create content and how they're gonna interact with their fans and audience, right? So I see that is the main part of like how they're gonna, like, is there going to be a platform that helps empower them, or are they be able to do it themselves? Because I feel like there are some people that are bridging that now. I think like our song is bridging that too. So I think there are people like us trying to bridge the two sides. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, if I'm the investors in your companies, right? If you have creators getting more and more power, and the platforms and their algorithms don't seem to be giving up power, it seems like you guys are going to get squished there. I mean, what's this secret unfair advantage you can have in helping? I mean, where is the part that you're trying to push to get leverage?
I feel like if we can get advertising model out of the door, that's already a win for content creators.
Yeah. And I guess none of you do any of you have advertising as your primary business?
I mean, so our strategy is actually to be like the TikTok for virtual creators. And so we know that we're not going to be the people that can create the next formal content. And so we monetize on that level where like we enable and create tools for them that they would never have been able to create. And then they monetize on their advertising level for different types of content, right? The VTuber business is super complicated and regionally specific. And so a short example is that, you know, in Japan, VTubers are all on YouTube. In America, they're all on Twitch. Well, most of them are on Twitch. And then the monetization, different schemes for that are wildly different. And so, but for us, wherever people make money, if you can participate in a virtual IP creation thing, that's the part that we take.
And do you see, I mean, my intuition is that each region has very different platforms that they use. And it seems like it's very difficult to do global stuff, but most of you seem to be global. I mean, how do you think about, like, how do you pick which platforms, which regions, or are there certain regions you don't do? I mean, no?
I mean, K-pop is global.
We don't really pick platforms, you know. So most of the platform, like global platform, YouTube, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, you know, we all work with them, you know. And some markets like Japan, we work with local platforms, but you know, mostly it's all about global social media these days.
Yeah, in our case, it's not because of the. It's because we actually like are in the otaku anime culture, and it's very very different country to country, right? Like, Japan adopts it on a very broad scale. America, like, this week is Anime Expo, right? And like, Anime Expo, Americans love anime, but not in the same way that Japanese people do. Like they're like Jujutsu Kaisen, they're like Dragon Ball Z, that kind of stuff, and it's a very different perception in how they adopt and how you interact and how they monetize. And then you go to Indonesia, which we have a huge presence in, totally different as well. Very religious aspects to it, like impact how we do social media and monetize. And so in our case, it really is a very localized effort.
Yeah, memes are just global, right? So that's why when we have Hi the Pain Harold coming to Japan, people start taking photos with him. And like, that's how global, that's beyond language, beyond culture, yeah.
I think the infrastructure is all the same in the same industry, but in the business level, definitely we need to have local strategy, and even some product like AI product. Right now, we're working with one of the most legendary hip hop group in Japan, and they're gonna launch their AI co-creation campaign with their fans, share royalty with them in August. So, training a Japanese AI rap model take us like long time, but yeah.
So, Yeah, so Pochang, I wanted to just, I'm so sick of people talking about AI that I was almost not going to talk about it, but you mentioned it. I feel like it's generally underdelivered, considering the hype, but everybody has to think about it. And I mean, how do you think it's going to change your business, if at all, or are you negative on it?
In terms of entertainment world, it's already changing entertainment industry massively in way of creating content such as traditional long form content and even music videos these days. So it's not gonna be 100% leading the industry, but we all have to be working with AI in some aspect, in the very near future.
I mean, machine learning is everywhere. It's been around for so long. And so everything that we do across all of our businesses has been propped up by machine learning, period. Generative AI, in our world, actually is going to be very transformative about how we make content faster. But it obviously has a lot of negative connotations for the creative industry, music, anime artists, like film directors, that kind of stuff. But in the back, people are looking at how to optimize and how they can make more successful content for sure.
I think a lot of people are talking about how AI is easier for producing content, but no one's talking about how audience is going to react to AI content. Are they with high quality, or do people actually enjoy these piece of content? I think when we tested some AI content, it's not actually the best performed content. It still needs some sort of human touch and like what is like funny, and I think humor is it's a good testing ground.
So there's a famous AI VTuber right now. I forgot the name, but it's really, really popular and really successful because it's a human and an AI. So the girl is an AI character, and she does in response to things kind of stupidly. And then her programmer is the other influencer, and like that kind of human AI augmentation, which is what AI really is, at least in its current state, is augmentation of humans. There's a lot of stuff that's going to be coming. We're just getting started, and I think it's very exciting.
I think it's mentioned a lot recently that it's not AI replace humans, people who use AI replace human. For music production, actually, I think Gen AI music right now is over my expectation, actually. And I do think it will just go better and better and have a very, very big impact for the industry. So the thing is how we manage this AI stuff. Because things like platform like Suno, Udio, they just get sued by the major labels, right? So if we don't have a very good management system for all this IP, not just music, I think it'll lose control. Right now, it's just like the moment of the Napster in 2000. How we find a way to use the technology, but also protect the rights of the content creator. I think that's a very urgent need.
I mean, I've been working in copyright for a long time, and it's continually getting more and more broken, but I think AI is going to push it over to where we really need to rethink copyright, because the idea of AI being a transformation or not, and the fact that in the US you can't get copyright on anything AI generated, I mean, it breaks the business model, so I think it's an opportunity to think about it again. And I think you guys said this, but I just want to confirm. I mean, I think the current generations of AI are really good at producing drafts or helping people who know what they're doing, but you can't just ship the AI because it's going to be it's even with the Gen AI like ChatGPT, the hallucination is kind of like dumb, also manifests as like dumb jokes or things that just and if somebody knows what they're doing, I think it's going to really boost them. But I think that's true right now. And then the last thing I mean, there are no Japanese entrepreneurs here. I don't know if it was the organizers or what, but you're all kind of are partially in Japan. I mean, what's your view on Japan? I mean, Japan is aging. It's still got a lot of big companies. Web3 is starting, but it's not really here. I mean, what do you think Japan needs to do? I want some advice from you guys. Huh?
I mean, our company is headquartered in Tokyo, and I've personally been here 14 years. I mean,
because the way that Japan pitches itself is we've got a lot of IP, and it's a big economy, and we have a lot of technology, but it just doesn't seem like the scene is catching like it does in Korea or in Hong Kong and other places.
I
But
mean,
you're here, I don't know.
I mean, Japan's all about the flywheel, right? Like that they take a long time to get started, inertia, and then all of a sudden, when they do something, it does have a strong form of polish and excellence to it, and so that's the quality of the Pokemon that Japan really is, right? We've been looking at the AI scene on the LLM side for very, very closely because we would like our characters to also be driven by those. At some time, like it's still a human, but then eventually there'll be times where they can be automated. And yeah, the Japanese aspect of it definitely needs to. They're just slowly revving up, right? Like there's language barriers, but the bigger piece is the copyright thing is a big deal. How to think about legislation. Japan has actually, at least in our research, has the most open legislation on basically copyright as far as AI scraping content, but Japanese companies are not embracing it yet. And so I think there's going to be an arms race at some point where an open AI is going to be like, hey, actually we can break all these rules. They're not, but a Japanese company might not do that. And so that's something that the country needs to think about. And then the LLM thing I think is very important because people don't think about that each country should have native power and capabilities in being able to harness LLMs, and so that's something I think they should really all think about.
I think I love Japan, but everything I'm thinking of mostly are from big corporation. So like Sony, like the cars, Nissan, or all the IP that you mentioned, it's just controlled by the big group. But here, for these 3 days, I saw a lot of new, innovative entrepreneur. I think the opportunity for Japan is still on the hands of the young people.
Yeah.
I think Japan has a very interesting NFT community, and that's why we're here to build our community and meet with our community members. But also, like, I think they have a natural appreciation of like IPs, and like that really excites them. So I think like that's why we're here to connect.
For K-pop, Japan is the second largest market in the world, and Japanese fandom has always been supporting K-pop for a long time, and we do appreciate that. And also, Japan, has a lot of super IPs that are already global, and we, as a producer of K-pop artists and content, we really want to collaborate with Japanese IPs and take them global together.
I mean, it's interesting because I always used to think of Japan as the place where we used to take things from the West, cars and even music, and then kind of perfect it. But then K-pop took it, I think, from Japan and then took it to a different level. And it's kind of interesting to see Korea now taking the things.
Oh, Japanese music industry is so big that a lot of Japanese artists and labels, because domestic market is big enough, they don't really had the need to go global. So that is why maybe.
But
It's Mandarin market.
And I think this is why this is so important, is I think the government and everybody protects the big companies, so it's been very difficult for startups to do their thing. And I think when you guys come and work with the Japanese startups and get them attention and get them the confidence, because the other problem is in Japan, everyone's afraid. So they don't break the rules, and they're very careful. And I think you guys kind of have to kind of give them a push, and I think maybe we can get this going. But we're almost out of time. Does anybody have any last point they want to make? Are you optimistic?
I've been very optimistic. Like it's such a such a time of change. Like everything is different. It's always like you thought, oh, this is gonna be the biggest social network. Games are never gonna change. Or like this is the best type of music you've ever heard. Like it's crazy. This right now, like everything's different. Like it's really, really quite wild. Like so that's exciting.
Which for some people it's scary, but for you it's a good thing, right?
Yeah, I just read that you can't tell kids these days like what they're gonna need or what kind of skills do they need in the next 20 years because it will change a lot. So I think like the SocialFi is definitely something that will be part of the next generation's life, but we don't know how to predict the future, so we just need to like go step by step on it.
I'm super excited because the last revolution for music industry is year 2000. It's 24 years ago, and right now, I think we're in the new industry revolution time. So pretty excited.
Super optimistic too. Things that have been happening for 10 years, like 10 years before, are happening in a month these days. So everything's so changing fast, and we're trying to create a company that changes as fast as possible.
Well, thanks for this amazing, optimistic panel.
Thank you for being a great host.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Finally, take a picture. And everyone, once again, please give our great speaker a round of applause.